turn my headphone down a little bit. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
What up, everyone? Welcome to the Angry Vets Fantasy Discussing Podcast. I am your host today, Corey Richardson. We are going to talk about week 4 and some waiver wires that maybe you want to add to your team because they could be a phenomenal pickup for your phenomenal season that you're having because you've been following us all along and we're giving you that information you need to win your league. So with that, let's get you the tools you need to succeed. Sound like a Dr. Seuss book, always and forever. Love it. Anywho, start off with a Thursday night game. We hit it a little bit. What a shootout. It was actually it was a pretty high scoring game for this week. But phenomenal game on Thursday. There were some huge scores in that game. I started Miles Sanders. Man, and of all people to get the carries against that sorry Packers run defense was Jordan Howard. He had the 3 TDs. I would have looked really good if if Sanders would have got those carries. But he had a little shake in the goal line in the red zone earlier in that game. And he's had his fumble woes before. So we're going to leave that with that. Actually, before we get into games, you know what? Let's hit some waivers, actually. I know I'm all over the place, but I'm going to sit. You guys, you know me. I'll sit there and break down the game all day. So I don't want to get too caught up on that and then not be able to give you some waivers. That's why everybody's here, right? Waiver advice? I believe so. So with that being said, I'm pulling up the fellas' waiver list right now and get some of their waivers out there to you guys. Shout out to our knucklehead of the week, Khalil Mack. A dog that poops fast don't poop for long, man. Quoted by Khalil Mack. I get what he was trying to say. He was trying to say you can't start off too fast because if you start off too fast, you're going to burn out by the end of the season. But yeah, he used that analogy, and we're going to just say, yeah, cool. But getting into these waivers, yes, he was our knucklehead of the week. But getting into these waivers, we'll start off with Alex's waivers of the week. He's saying grab Jacoby Brissett, 10 TDs, 2 INTs. He's been looking super sweet. I agree with that on Jacoby Brissett. Then we have Carlos Hyde coming in at running back. Let's see if Carlos Hyde should have been picked up last week. If he's still out there, you can pick him up because we don't know when Singletary will get back. So I like that pickup as well. Deontay Johnson. Look, man, I'm going to get on Juju later. But, yes, as of right now, Deontay Johnson is the receiver to have in Pittsburgh. It breaks my heart saying it. But right now, he's getting the touchdowns. He's getting the looks. More on that later. Tight end Gerald Everett. I heard someone else mention his name earlier. I guess he had a big game this weekend. So we're looking at that when we get to that St. Louis game. Hot St. Louis. Just kidding. Los Angeles. I miss them being in St. Louis, though. Anyways, defense. Titans D. Let's see. Who do they have this week? We'll get on that. There must be a reason he wants them to be picked up. I'm willing to bet they play a sweet offense this week. How much you want to bet, guys? Let's see who the Titans play. The Bills offense. I actually like that a lot. That's going to be a defensive battle. So, yes, actually pick up the kickers in that game, too. And then we get to Cody's list. What's up, everyone? Week 5 is making its way upon us. Let us hit some waiver targets out there with what slim pickings we have. Very true. Waivers are starting to get slim. In most of your competitive leagues, they're starting to get slim. A lot of people that are in maybe family leagues or work leagues and people aren't really fantasy heads like that, you guys have a lot to choose from. I'm in a couple of leagues like that, and I'm like, man, I'm losing my mind because I'm like, I want to grab him, and I can't grab everybody because there's a limit on the roster. So with that being said, if you guys need any help in waivers, want to help find a dime, you know what? Hit our line. Message us or post in the group. There's always someone out there willing to help. So with that being said, guys, don't be afraid to post in the group. And we're getting to Cody's. Cody said at quarterback, Jameis Winston only owned in 43% in leagues. Get him if you need a backup. Yes, Jameis Winston looks locked and loaded. He went into that Rams stadium and he showed out. I put Chris Godwin on the bench because I was trying to get sexy. My bad. My apologies, Chris Godwin. Every time I put him on the bench, he's blown up. So with that being said, he's not leaving my roster anymore. He's put up receiver 1 numbers, so he has no reason to leave my roster. No more getting cute for me, guys. So yes, Jameis Winston. Ronald Jones is looking phenomenal. He had a couple big plays called back on penalties. He's the running back to have in Tampa. We've been waiting on it. I know the fellas and myself have been waiting for Ronald Jones to take the reins on that offense and take over that backfield, and it's happening. The offensive line is starting to gel. Ronald Jones is starting to hit holes. Shout out to everyone that held out on Ronald Jones. He's going to make you a happy person in the next few weeks. But yes, agree with that. Ronald Jones, Duke Johnson Jr. If he's on waivers, yes, you should grab him. He's getting more and more looks. Rashad Penny should be back this week. He has a hammy issue I was reading about this morning, so we'll see how that plays out. But hey man, Chris Carson and Rashad Penny getting carries. Jalen Samuels, yes, he's finally stepping up, getting a lot of work at receiver, starting to open up that offense a little bit. Hopefully, we can get start getting Juju open a little bit, man. Defenses are so tight on Juju right now. So as always, buy low on Juju. He'll get it together. Teams will start letting up on him a little bit, and Juju will eat. Let's see. Geronimo or MVS aren't rostered. Go get one of them. Yes, they are a bye-week blues kind of player. It's hit or miss with them. Best of luck. Devontae Adams is out, so that's actually a really good point by Cody. Devontae Adams is out. Deontay Johnson, yes, we hit on him earlier. Cole Beasley was added late. Go grab Cole Beasley. Him and his relationship with Josh Allen. PPR stud. Chris Herndon comes back this week. Shall we see a resurgence of the Jets offense this week? We'll get into that to later this week when we break down the matchups. Ben Watson, Ricky Seals-Jones, and Jack Doyle round out Cody's picks for the week. All right. And with that being said, shout out to the players out there. Shout out to the TAF heads. Phenomenal stuff. Roddy, I believe, is posting his later. So, guys, be on the lookout for that as well. We'll mark it as an announcement. Other than that, let's get into the meat and potatoes, baby. What I love to do, breaking down some of these games. There was some headaches in this game this week. DeAndre Hopkins pointing to you. And some definite upside. Jameis Winston right there. So, with that being said, coming into week 4, oh my gosh. We thought we had a good feeling. We thought we were figuring out what teams wanted to do. And some teams just flipped their script on us. And one team being, which we missed a huge detail. I'm a little bit disappointed because I'm usually good about catching stuff like this, but Taylor Lewan coming back for the Titans made a huge difference. It's going to make a huge difference. I mean, Mariota threw for 3 touchdowns against a Falcons D that was playing at home, and Mariota just went in there and showed off. He wasn't giving any love to Delaney Walker from what the stats looked like, but he was destroying this Atlanta defense. A.J. Brown showed out. He had 2 TDs off of only 3 receptions, which that's what has me a little bit concerned, is that he did that off of 3 catches. So that means Atlanta gave up some huge plays. So will we see Mariota do it again in the coming weeks? I don't know, because other than those 2 big plays, one was a 55-yarder, Mariota would have only threw for 1 TD to Corey Davis, who had a phenomenal game. 6 targets, 5 receptions for 91 yards. You can finally play Corey Davis. But this Atlanta defense, man, they couldn't hold my flag football team, fellas and ladies. Yes, it's looking like you can start your receivers against this Atlanta defense. For them to be at home and to get whooped like this by Mariota, it's concerning. It really is. It's really concerning. Matt Ryan actually had a decent game throwing the ball. Tennessee has a great defense this year. Don't sleep on their defense, but he had a great day throwing the ball. Yardage wise, no TDs, but also no INTs. So obviously that means Julio didn't show up. That also means that Calvin Ridley didn't show up. And last but not least, Mohamed Sanu showed up. In these ugly games like this, Mohamed Sanu usually shows up. I don't know what it is, but it's like Matt Ryan's like, this is going to be a bad game. I don't want to throw any interceptions. I'm going to just throw it to Mohamed Sanu 12 times when I got other studs all over the field. But hey, who am I to judge? Austin Hooper, 11 targets, 9 receptions, 130 yards. Tennessee came into this game and was like, hey, we'll let everybody else beat us, but Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley aren't going to be the ones. Devontae Freeman, he's not putting up numbers as a running back. He's putting up numbers in the receiving game. I love it. I actually had him sitting on the pond as well. Yes, judge me, people. Judge me right now. No, don't judge me. It's all right. I made mistakes. We're going to own up to that, and we're going to move on. What else did I like in this game? Derrick Henry put up 100. No TDs this week, but he's still being Mr. Consistent. Delaney Walker only 2 freaking targets, man. I'm just sick of it. I'm so sick of Mariota. That's one thing Atlanta does have, I will say, is safeties. They have some pretty good safeties. Keanu Neal, that can cover tight ends. So don't give up on Delaney Walker just yet. I'm more alarmed with how Mariota isn't looking his way as much. And Mariota is just, So anyways, off of that, we're going to another game. Another big game I wanted to hit from this weekend was, boom, right here, Chargers versus Dolphins. So we're looking at our boy Ingram coming back. Everybody that drafted him in their drafts, hopefully draft him in the 4th or 5th round. Some people were taking him early still. They thought he wasn't going to hold out into the season. He did. He's coming back this week. With that being said, everybody's asking the questions, what does that do to Eckler? Is he going to take over that backfield entirely? And my answer is, I don't think so. I believe that this Chargers team still loves him some Eckler because he's been showing out while Gordon has been hanging out. So I don't think Eckler just loses everything. Eckler is too valuable on the field to just not get any kind of work. I feel like you can still start Eckler. He's no longer RB1, obviously, because of who's coming back. But I still feel like he could be a medium to high flex. A high-end flex, a medium RB2. He's still going to get work. The offense is still going to put up numbers. And, I mean, at the end of the day, Melvin Gordon, he has his injury concerns. He hasn't been playing football. Is his body going to be able to adapt to that hit? There's a lot of concerns going into that. We'll hit on that later this week as well when we start breaking down next week's matchups. But looking at this, Austin Eckler had a great game again. 18 carries, 60 yards, and a TD, man. He just looks so good. 5 receptions, 62 yards, and another TD. He was winning people fantasy games week in and week out. He probably won't do that now, but he will still put up some numbers, I believe. We'll have to wait and see after how it's going to pan out this week. I don't think they'll give Melvin Gordon a full workload first thing this week. So we'll see how it plays. Definitely keep an eye on that. We'll break it down further in the week as we get more information coming out. But Devontae Parker finally took one to the end zone. That's the only person on that team doing anything right now. So you get Devontae Parker, they're always going to be down in games, so he'll put up some type of numbers. Looking up some other games, the Browns showed up. Nick Chubb went off for 3 TDs. He had a phenomenal game against a Ravens defense that, they've been shutting running backs down this year. They've been slapping running backs in the mouth. And Chubb came out and said, not today. I'm running this rock. I'm going for 3 of them. We're going to whoop you guys 40-25 at your house. That's a huge statement. In Baltimore, that was a huge statement game. Lamar Jackson slowed down a little bit in this one. 247 yards, 3 TDs, 2 interceptions, but he still had a phenomenal fantasy outing. Still had 9 carries for 66 yards. The numbers you're getting from Lamar are just so sweet, man. Perfect, perfect fantasy football quarterback. Marquise Brown only had 4 catches off of 7 targets this week. Andrews had 8 targets, but he did get the TD, 4 receptions for 31 yards. So they had a decent outing. Willie Snead had a TD off of 2 catches, and 61 yards. So Jarvis Landry, I actually had Jarvis Landry. Somebody dropped him a little bit too early. I needed to drop Jarvis Landry. I sort of regret doing it because I needed a kicker at the end of the week, and I couldn't drop anybody else because I have a pretty decent team, and I didn't want to drop anyone from that team. So it came down to Jarvis Landry had to be dropped, and he went in last week. Had 10 targets, 8 receptions, and 167 yards. No TDs, and he came out with a concussion, unfortunately, so hopefully that doesn't hold him out too long. Hopefully he heals from that pretty quickly. I haven't heard anything else. Odell just disappeared in this game. He really did. He had 7 targets, but only 2 receptions and 20 yards. You don't want that from Odell. You got to see more from Odell. We hit on Nick Chubb going ham this weekend. Baker Mayfield had an all right showing. He threw for 342 yards and a TD, 1 interception. Did he fumble? Oh my gosh, we lost connection. Oh snap, that's what it said. All right, we're back. Did you lose a fumble? No, C. Thomas recovered a fumble. Okay, cool. But yeah, Cleveland showed up, and we'll hit one more game that was really big. I wanted to talk about this Jaguars and Broncos game, but I'm not going to do it for obvious reasons. I'm still hurt. I'm still hurting from that game. It hurt so bad. But Dak throws pick on final play of the game. We'll hit that. Teddy Bridgewater, people have been asking, should you pick him up? I'm not picking him up for fantasy purposes. I still don't trust him in fantasy. Only 193 yards and an interception. But Alvin Kamara came through in a big way. 17 carries, 69 yards on the ground. But he came through in PPR, 3 receptions and 20 yards. Actually, Alvin Kamara didn't do that much. I don't know why I thought he did. Michael Thomas had a decent game. 9 targets. He had 9 receptions, 100% catch accuracy, and 95 yards. Phenomenal stuff. I know a lot of people were big on Jared Cook coming into the season. He's not producing. He's a candidate to be dropped now. Maybe you could pick him up when Breeze comes back, and maybe they get something going. But even when Breeze was in, Cook wasn't doing too much of anything. On the other side, Cowboys didn't look too hot. Amari Cooper only had 5 catches for 48 yards. We had Zeke saved the day with a TD on 35 yards, but Zeke had 6 catches for 30 yards. So off of 7 targets, which helped his day in fantasy. Dak disappeared in this one against a tough Saints defense. I know we were talking about this in the Taft Heads. If that Saints defense can continue to keep this up, it's going to be interesting to see. So, actually one more game. New England and Buffalo, the battle of the unbeatens, end up becoming a defensive showdown. It's a divisional game. They usually become showdowns. I had a really good feeling about sitting Tom Brady in this one, but as I said earlier, I couldn't drop anyone else to pick up a quarterback to sit Brady. But he didn't show up. 150 yards, 1 interception. Something I'm concerned with is Josh Gordon dropped a couple balls in this game, and the Patriots don't deal well with that kind of stuff. They love consistent receivers, people that catch the ball, like James White had 10 targets, 8 receptions. Julian Edelman went 4 for 7. But Philip Dorsett went 2 for 9. You can't do this. They're due for a bounce back. The Bills are not a sleeper defensive team. Tre'Davious White is one of the top cornerbacks in the league for a reason. But Josh Gordon dropped a couple balls that I've seen. He wasn't that tightly contested. So he has to come down with those catches, or Brady's going to stop looking his way, or the Patriots aren't afraid to cut either. So with that being said, get it together, JG. I want to see you produce. I don't have any shares of you anymore, but I still want to see you produce. With that being said, as always, salute to our troops and salute active duty and our veterans out there. We love you all. If you guys need anything, reach out. And as always, salute. Have a good one. See you guys later this week.